What's up guys, and welcome back to another weekly breakdown video on my YouTube channel. So as usual, today I'll be sharing with you what I think will be my outlook for the upcoming trading week on gold and on Euro USD. Okay, so real quick, let's begin with Euro USD on the weekly time frame. Okay, so if you can see this, we all can see that Euro USD, the weekly time frame, we are making lower highs and lower lows. Okay, so this is the last high of the weekly leg that made this low. Okay, so weekly we are bearish, and currently we can see that price is beginning with a retracement. So if weekly we make any retracement, we can expect that retracement into at least this weekly supply like this. Then we can start looking for sales all the way to the downside, right? However, if this weekly swing leg decides to break, then we can have price breaking through like this. Then the weekly is going to switch bullish. Okay, but currently with whatever we have in here, the weekly is bearish and we are riding on the retracement to the upside. So real quick, we can step onto the daily and look at what the daily is doing. Okay, so in here I have my daily making what? Lower highs, lower lows, like that. Okay, so the daily is also bearish, just like the weekly is. All right, so this is my current daily high, which created this daily low, right? And I have the supply zone up in here. Okay, so daily is also bearish, and we can see that price is actually reacting from premium zones, right? You can see we are within premium zones of the daily push. Okay, all right, so now we can start looking at H4 because we know that the daily is bearish. Real quick, let's step onto H4. Now this is what I was looking at on the H4 time frame. Okay, so H4, we had price making higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, like that, right? And then we had this break of structure right in here. Okay, so right in here I marked the supply zone as my H4 supply like this. Okay, so I had one in here as a decisional supply and the one up here also as an origin supply. Okay, now you guys know that I really like to look at M15 for my trades, but what I realized about this price action is this H4 legs was actually being built by H1. Okay, so I'll be switching to H1 to see how price is building up. Okay, so here on H1, this is what I can see. I can see this low which made this high, this low which made this high, right? And we had price breaching this. In fact, this was just a liquidity grab, because if I could remember, this low was in confluence with the Asian low from that particular day. So this is just a liquidity grab, and I'm still expecting price to come all the way into any of the supply zone. Then I can look for how price will react to see whether intraday timeframes are going to give me any opportunity to sell, right? Another thing that I'm aware of is if you look at the supply zone, this decisional supply zone, we can see that we have equal highs right in here. Okay, so sometimes instead of price respecting this to give us, the sell to the downside, we can have a little reaction like this, and then price will break this and we might come into the higher one. Okay, so if I switch to M15, this is what I am seeing on M15. Okay, so personally I have this low which created this high, and currently I'm looking at this low which has created this new high. Okay, so whatever I'm anticipating is this: if price, or if market opens, we can have price making a retracement into this big zones, right, of M15. I'm looking at this as the M15 structure, right? After this break, I'm looking at this as my M15 break. I know there are people out there who will be looking at maybe these zones as well, so you're gonna have price retracing all the way deeper. Either ways, I don't have any problem with that because I'm just reacting to price. I don't need to be so sure, 100% sure of a point of interest. No, I always need to react to what price will give me within a particular point of interest. So personally, when the market opens, I'll be looking at how price will react to these zones. If it gives me any opportunity to buy, why not? I'm going to buy all the way to the upside into this supply zone from H4. Okay, so currently this is what I'm looking at. Apart from that, the reason why I'm looking for buys is I can see price reacting from this Asian high. And if you watch, this Asian high has not been taken yet. Okay, so I think that price is what going to grab this Asian high probably into the supply. And if the supply decides to hold, then I can look for sales. Okay, but my pro trend sales will come off when, let's say, price creates a low like this, we tap into the supply and we breach this last level of what demand, then I can expect a retracement and sell pro trend. Okay, but apart from that, I am bullish on Euro USD until I see any bearish change of intent. Now you realize I marked this high as, you know, equal highs on H1. If you look at this, we can see that this high also has what, the Asian high not taken. So I think this is also another confluence to saying that this high or this decisional supply zone might be breached. It might be breached. I'm not saying it will be breached. It might be breached, right? It may be breached, or whatsoever English you want to use. So that is what I'll be looking at on Euro USD. Just that H4, I'm bearish. H1 and M15, I am bullish, right? I'm bullish on the intraday, and I'll just be looking at how price will react to any of the supply zones. Then I can look for trades. Okay, so that is what I'll be looking at on Euro USD. Real quick, let's step onto gold and let's see what price is saying on gold. All right, so as usual, we're going to start from the higher time frame, right? If you want to start from the weekly, that's cool. So here on the weekly time frame, we can see that we have this high which created this low, and I think this is also sharing the same structural leg with the daily. So in here I have the same weekly high and low as the daily high and low, right? Once I see this, I am aware that this price action or this weekly daily leg will be built by H4, right? So right without stepping into the H4 time frame, I can see H4 making what, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs and lower lows, and then we had this breach, okay, to the upside. So H4 we are bullish, daily, weekly we are bearish. Now another thing that I can also see is that I can see that price, let me step onto H4 so that we can mark this. Okay, so I can see that the H4 is also reacting from this last point of demand, okay, on gold. Now in here it is a little bit tricky. Now the reason why I'm saying it's a little bit tricky is this: if I step back onto the daily, right, and I take my Fibonacci, you are going to realize that price is coming all the way from an order block which is within premium zones. Okay, so we can have a situation where price will continue to push, and all will depend on what the intraday time frame is saying, right? In as much as this demand zone is holding, trust me, we can have price opening and price will start trickling all the way to the downside to take out this low. All because price is coming from an order block within premium zones. Okay, another thing that can happen is, irrespective of the fact that price is coming from an order block within premium zones, we can still have this leg pushing all the way up to continue with the H4 bulls into probably this level of supply before we can start looking for sales all the way to the downside. Okay, so that is what the bigger picture is saying. Okay, if I step onto H4, like I said, we've already defined this break of structure to the upside, right? And if we look at H1, or even before we step onto H1, you can see what price is doing in here, right? We have this last high which created this low, and currently we have come into this order block, and this is one of the reasons why I was saying that we can have price, you know, pushing all the way back down. That is if this order block decides to hold on H1. Okay, so this actually the H1 swing push. Okay, so if you ask me to define that order block on H1, is going to be like this. I'm going to have this whole zone as my order block, right? And so with whatever price is doing right now, I will just wait and see how price will react to this order block, right? Then I can see if price will give me any reaction to sell to the downside. Mind you, if price taps into this order block, we can get probably a counter trend trade just for price to come into this levels, either this one or maybe a refined zone right in here. Okay, and I'm quite sure that if price is coming down, we might take out this low like this. I'm quite sure. I'm not saying that's what is going to happen though, but I'm quite sure, just because H1 is bearish, right? I can have price breaking all the way to the downside. Either ways, I'll just be waiting for reactions. Okay, so real quick, if we step onto the M15, in fact, the M15 is not giving me anything solid. All what I'm seeing here is just this break of structure, which we saw also on H1. And this is one, I think I covered this kind of traps in one of my YouTube videos. Okay, so we can see that we have this push to the downside on H1. We've broken this and we are almost into this H1 supply. So that is why I'm saying that we can take out this low. Okay, either ways, all what I'll be saying is wait for how price will react. If we get any reaction to sell, then we can sell all the way to probably this point of interest right in here. But I will personally mark this point of interest as what? A smart money trap. That is what I will do. I will mark it as a smart money trap because I'm not expecting to buy from the zones, okay, just because of whatever I have seen on H1. Okay, so this is going to be my bias and my outlook on Euro USD and on gold for the upcoming trading week. And I guess you found value in this video. If you did, give this video a thumbs up, leave a like, leave a comment in the comment section. Okay, and see you for another educational content within the week.